Yes, I'm joined by Alan Karpick here. We're going to talk all things Ryan Walters. I mean, it was kind of a surprise hire and a little bit quick of a timeline for some people, but for others, this timeline was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect or didn't come quick enough. But yes, it was a surprise. I mean, I don't think anybody saw it. Ryan Walters was not on our initial hot board, if you want to ask that question, but he certainly started to appear there in the last 24, 48 hours. Very much of an up-and-coming hire, very much of an unknown. I mean, the fact that Purdue did not get a former head coach, a big name, so to speak, that some people wanted, but they did hire a guy that's very well respected in college football circles, and the youngest coach, Bree, that Purdue's hired since 1947, a 36-year-old and the head football coach, very young guy.
Yes, and one of 4 of the youngest coaches in FBS right now. But he is a defensive-minded guy, and we just had Jeff Brom, who was an offensive-minded guy. So how is that all going to play out here?
I think that adds a lot to the intrigue here, to be honest, and the fact that you have a guy that Purdue is a quarterback and known for its offense, and even and Jeff Brom certainly brought that to the table. So that's going to be a question I think a lot of people are going to ask when he's introduced to the public tomorrow about what kind of offense are you going to have? You've got returning quarterbacks. You've got some good young quarterbacks coming. Can Purdue still score points? Because that's what the fans have liked over the years.
Yes, and speaking of players coming here to Purdue, this was quite the transition that we had. But did the transition, is it going to affect the transfer portal, and with all the recruits decommitting, did they hire this guy to kind of keep everybody intact? No question
that was a huge factor, and the reason why people were, really wanted to get this solved sooner than later. Fans, especially, and Mike Babinski, because you had 5 decommitments in the recruiting class. You had the transfer portal that's open. You have a bowl game you're playing, even though he's not going to coach in the bowl game. You need stability in your program, and that was the primary reason for moving as fast as possible for Mike Babinski and company to get this hire made.
So now, can we expect to see some other coaches join him coming into the program?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's going to be the storyline really for the next week. Who are they going to hire as an offensive coordinator, Bree? That's going to be the real storyline. But also, will he bring some folks from Illinois? We expect 2 or 3 coaches, defensive coaches, to come from there. Will a guy, Jamarcus Shepard, who was a receivers coach at Purdue, that's at Washington now, would he maybe return? That will be the intrigue, I think. We've had a lot of intrigue in the last week. We're going to have a lot more in terms of what kind of staff that Ryan Walters puts together.
Now, the last question of today, what do you think his focus should be moving forward, just in this next week, not as a whole, just in this next week?
I think the next week is getting that staff together. That's going to be the first thing, and talking to your players, kind of stabilizing the situation. But the hard thing is going to be get your staff assembled, get your offensive mindset put together, and become who you are as a football program under Ryan Walters.
All right, thank you so much.